Okay, we're ready inshallah, right? Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa afdalu salati wa atammu at-taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna 'ilman wa tuqan wa hudan ya arhamar rahimin. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وإن خير الهدي هدي نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. So last time we talked about, who remembers? Suleiman. The story of Suleiman. And we have reached a very important time in the history of the Israelites. We started with the story of David, right? David built an empire, a kingdom, the kingdom of the United Hebrew Kingdom. His son Suleiman took over the kingdom. And we talked about how glorious his kingdom was. Now, if we remember last time how Suleiman died, do we remember how he died last time? He was on the sick, right? And he remained like this. He remained dead for a year. And then a small insect called the Arodaki kept eating it until one day he fell down. Until after a year, the whole nation of the United Hebrew Kingdom knew that Suleiman died. Okay. What's important about the era of Suleiman? What's the correlationship between this and what we're going to talk about today? During the era of Suleiman, the shayateen, the devils, the demons, they said that Suleiman, he got his kingdom from committing black magic, sihr. Now these demons themselves used to commit a sihr, and they knew the pathways to the sihr. Today's lecture is going to be very important. We are connecting everything we've said together since the beginning of the series. We talked about An-Namrud. An-Namrud was the first person to be taught black magic, the first human to be taught black magic, and he was taught black magic directly by Iblis himself. If you remember, he was walking, there was a cave, and somebody guided him into the cave, and then on the cave, he found Iblis, la'anahullah. Iblis was sitting on his throne, and then he spoke with An-Namrud. And then he taught An-Namrud black magic in exchange for An-Namrud to teach his people to worship Iblis. And this has been passed down. When we talked about the story of Musa, we talked about As-Samiri, right? And whether he is or not a Dajjal. And how he let the people worship the Ghiath. And we talked about the Egyptian mythology and how it connects with the Babylonian and Greek mythology, and all of them lead to the same idea of worshipping Iblis. During Suleiman, it was said that he used to control the demons with a ring, known as Khatam Suleiman, the ring of Solomon. And on the ring there is a carve of a star. Some said it's a 5-pointed star. Some said it is a 6-pointed star. Right? Which is the Star of David, known as the Star of David today. Which, if you know the Zionist flag, it's on the Zionist flag, right? But the most common is that it's the 5-pointed star, not the 6-pointed star. That's the most common. And there's a reason for that today. So after Suleiman's death, what happened? Now people want to know who is going to be the king of the United Hebrew Kingdom. Who is going to rule the land of Palestine? And that's our question today. Who has the rights for the land of Palestine? That's our question today. And we're going to find the answer. They were divided into two sects. The Israelites. Some of them said the ruler is going to be Rahba'am ibn Suleiman. Rahba'am ibn Suleiman, he is the son of Suleiman alayhi salam. And they said Rahba'am is going to be the new king of the United Hebrew Kingdom. This is what the Israelites said. Notice that I'm saying the Israelites, I'm not saying the Jews. They were not known as the Jews. So they chose Rahba'am. Those were two tribes of the Israelites. Binyamin, the tribe of Binyamin, and the tribe of Yehuda. Does that sound familiar? Yehuda. Is it familiar? So, 10 of those tribes, there are 12 tribes, remember? So 10 of these tribes, the other 10 tribes, so Binyamin and Yehuda chose Rahba'am. Now the other 10, they said, no, we're going to choose Yerba'am. Yerba'am bin Nubat. And he is a man who descends from the tribe of Ephraim with a fa, Ephraim, who is the son of Yusuf alayhi salam, Yusuf as-Siddiq, the prophet. And the kingdom was divided into north and south. The north kingdom, they called it the kingdom of Israel, Mamlakat Israel, because they were the tribes of Israel. And they oppressed every single ethnicity other than the Israelites. They killed them. And they left the religion of Islam and started worshipping the other religions that they got from the Babylonians and the Phoenicians. They started worshipping the Calf again. They started worshipping Baal, all of these legendary gods. وَلِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Their capital was As-Samira, which is in modern-day Nablus, in Palestine, in what's known as the West Bank. So, hence they were called As-Samiriyun. Now, As-Samiriyun, today they exist in Palestine, and they're about roughly 300 people, roughly 300 to 600 people. We're talking about the people who live in Palestine, and there's also people who are in diaspora, في المهجر. So these people, they worship differently than the Jews we know today. These people, they believe that only Musa, Harun, and Yusha ibn Nun are the final prophets. Any other prophet who came after them, he is not a prophet. Unlike the Jews, they believe in the prophets we're going to talk about today. Ishaya and Daniel and Uzair, they believe in them. The Samiriyun, they don't believe in them. They say Musa and Yusha ibn Nun, they're the last prophets. That's it. And they actually say about the Jews that they're kuffar. They tell the Jews that you guys are not, you're not like us, you're not Jews. We are the real Jewish people. And they don't even call themselves Jewish. They're Sumerians. Because as I said, the religion is not called Judaism. The religion is called Islam. Inna ad-dina 'inda Allahi al-Islam. Now where did the term Jewish come from? The southern kingdom, with the capital Al-Quds. And we know it in English as Jerusalem, right? The J in English originally was a yes sound. Because English is a Germanic language. Why do I keep saying English? English and German, both of these languages are very close together. They're from the same family, right? So the J was a yes sound. So the original pronunciation is Jerusalem, which comes from the Hebrew word Orshalim, or Yerushalim, which means the house of peace. Yerushalim. So the capital was Al-Quds. And the tribe that ruled was the tribe of Yehuda. They oppressed the tribe of Binyamin. And the house who kept ruling was the house of David, right? Because Rahba'am bin Suleiman, he is the grandson of Dawood alayhi salam. So they kept ruling the house of David, the descendants of David, and David is from the tribe of Yehuda, they kept ruling this land, so they called this land the kingdom of Yehuda. And anyone from this kingdom, they called him Yehudi. And as I said, the J originally is what? It's a yes sound, right? Yeah. So the kingdom of Yehuda, in English it's the kingdom of Judah. And anyone from the kingdom of Judah, right? He is a Judi. Yehudi. Jehudi. And it became a Jew. Hence the term Jewish. So the Jews, the term comes from the country that was back then. The southern country that was ruled by the tribe of Yehuda. So that not even from the country, sorry, it comes from the tribe of Yehuda. Those two kingdoms fought each other for roughly 300 to 400 years. And both of them stopped following the rules of Musa alayhi salam and the Torah and etc. Now we're going to move into a very important part of the history of the Israelites, a very important part in the history of humanity. The reason why I say that, because these incidents that we're going to talk about today are very relevant to many issues we have today. And also, I would like to think about them as the prequel to the beginning of the signs of the Day of Judgment. Because the very first sign for the Day of Judgment, we all know the signs of the Day of Judgment, right? Alamat Yawm al-Qiyamah. The very first sign was the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. Those events that occurred, they were paving the way to the birth of the Prophet ﷺ, to the signs of the end of the day. And they're very relevant. And they're mentioned in the Quran. Now, during a period of time, the Yehuda kingdom, they had many kings. All of them descend from Dawood. The northern kingdom, they remained, which is the kingdom of As-Samira, right? The kingdom of Israel. They remained for 250 years. After 250 years, there was a huge empire in the east side of Palestine, in modern day Iraq. And their capital was Al-Mosul, the city of Mosul that we know today, right? In the province of Nineveh. It's known as Nineveh. And this empire was called the Assyrian Empire, Al-Imbratoriya Al-Ashuriya. And who ruled them was Sargon al-Thani, Sargon II. Now this man, he gathered a huge army and went all the way to Palestine, and he conquered the northern kingdom, and he destroyed the northern kingdom. He destroyed As-Samira, and he killed all of the Jews who were there. Or not the Jews, sorry, the Sumerians who were there. The 10 tribes. If you always hear in the media, or if you read about the religion of Judaism, you always hear this term, the 10 lost tribes. Have you ever heard this term before? The 10 lost tribes. If you search and Google it, it's very common, especially in the Western media and stuff like that. The Western Christian media and the Jewish media, they always talk about the 10 lost tribes. Al-Asbat al-Ashra al-Mafquda. Those 10 lost tribes, they inhabited the northern part, and Sargon killed them. Who remained from them, he took them with him, to Iraq and Persia, because this man ruled Iraq and Persia. And he took them there, and he forced them to inhabit there, and he did not let them go back. The people who remained, who today are 300 to 600 people, who claim to be descendants of these people were either refugees who went to the southern kingdom, to the Mamlakat Yehuda, or people who hid. They hid it from Sargon. So the northern kingdom is out of the way. All right, it's destroyed. Let's go to the southern kingdom, Mamlakat Yehuda. They had a king, his name is Hizqiah. Okay, not Hizqeel. Hizqeel is a prophet. Now we're talking about a king, his name is Hizqiah. Hizqiyah, during his time, during his reign, there was a prophet. His name is Ish'iyah. So we have Hizqiyah and Ish'iyah. Now, after Sargon died, Sargon of Assyria, came a man who ruled Assyria and Babylon. His name is Sanharib. He's the king of Assyria, the new king of Assyria. Now, Sanharib gathered an army and he said, I will go and destroy the kingdom of Yehuda and I will rule Al-Quds. Hizqiyah heard about this. Now, like us, the Muslims, right? I want you to think about the kingdom of Dawood and Suleiman. It's the same concept as the Khilafah, Dawlat al-Khilafah, which is Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali. Because they were Muslims and they were ruling with just. It's the same. And like us Muslims, after a couple of years, we started fighting each other and civil wars, and our country fell down, the Muslim country, and now we're divided into several countries, right? And we have many wars and battles, and some of us even left Islam, and some of us are Muslims but by name, and etc. The same thing happened with them. So the northern kingdom was destroyed and taken out. The southern kingdom now, they're divided. It's known as Asr Muluk al-Tawa'if. There is also something called Asr Muluk al-Tawa'if, but that is for Andalusia, for Al-Andalus. We're not going to talk about that. But there is another era, it's called Muluk al-Tawa'if, the king of sects, because they were divided into different countries and different tribes and sects in the southern kingdom. So Hizqiyah heard about this and he said, well, we are too weak. We are too weak to fight Sanharib. Right? Assyria was strong. They were very strong. Let me tell you, there was a period of time before the birth of Christ, of Isa alayhi salam. So we're talking about 400, 300 years before that. Al-Hilal Khasib, the Fertile Crescent, especially the country of Iraq, it was the strongest country in the whole entire world. Everybody feared it. They were like the United States of that time, basically. It was the strongest country. They had the best technology, everything. And Hizqiyah, he ruled a very tiny, small country. He was scared. He did not know what to do. So he called Ish'iyah, the prophet, and he told Ish'iyah, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell you? What did he reveal to you? مَا أُوحَى اللَّهُ لَكَ ماذا نفعل? Ish'iyah told him, give up. You're not going to make it. The kingdom is going to be destroyed. So Hizqiyah was scared. What's going to happen? Not just this, but Hizqiyah also suffered from an ulcer in his knee. So he also called Ish'iyah and he said, what am I going to do? How am I going to be healed? So Ish'iyah told him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me that you are going to die. Your death is soon to come. You have nothing to do. When Ish'iyah heard this, Ish'iyah told Hizqiyah that, and then he told him, so prepare the person who's going to rule after you. So Hizqiyah said, I don't want this to happen. I don't want the kingdom of Yehuda to fall during my time. If you remember from the last lecture, we talked about Suleiman, and we talked about how Suleiman was worshipping in Bayt al-Maqdis. And Bayt al-Maqdis, by the way, the picture I'm showing you is Qibbat al-Sakhra, the Dome of the Rock. This is not Al-Masjid al-Aqsa. It is part of Al-Masjid al-Aqsa. Al-Masjid al-Aqsa is the whole wall. Within it we have Qibbat al-Sakhra and another two mosques. All of these are part of Masjid al-Aqsa. So the whole wall is Al-Masjid al-Aqsa. This whole place was built by Ya'qub alayhi salam. So the place you're looking at was built by Ya'qub. So thousands and thousands of years ago. And it was renovated by Suleiman. It looked way better than now, back then. But we're going to talk about why it looks a little bit destroyed today. So Suleiman was praying in there, and then he found a tree and he asked, what's the tree's name? And the tree said, Al-Kharaba, or Al-Kharuba, which means destruction. Suleiman said, what's your task? He said, the tree told Suleiman, I'm here to tell you that the time for this land to be destroyed is near. So it was written to them that one day Al-Quds is going to be destroyed. And the kingdom of the Israelites is going to be destroyed. And all of them are going to have a very bad time. And all of this is a punishment from Allah. Bear with me. All of what I'm saying is going to lead to who this land belongs. Palestine or the Jews. Now, Hizqiyah, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, I don't want the land to be destroyed during my reign. Because whoever reign the land is destroyed, this means that this man is a bad person. He's cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maghdub alayh. So he did not want to be that person. So he started praying to Allah and he started asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure his ulcer and so he can fight, etc., etc. And then one day they wake up. The army of Sanharib is present in Palestine. And they wake up and they find all of the army dead except for 5 people, including Sanharib, the whole army. So Ish'aya tells Hizqiyah, he tells him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent death upon the army of Sanharib based on your plea, because you made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cured his ulcer. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him more time to live. This is what Ish'aya told him. So Hizqiyah thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he grabbed the 5 people who were left. Among the 5 we said Sanharib, right? The king of Assyria. But also among the 5 there was a boy by the name of Nabuchodonosor. Nabuchodonosor. Pay attention to the name. He grabbed all of these 5. He let them wander all around Palestine. And he let them chained. And he let the people throw things at them. Hizqiyah, let those 5 happen to them like that. And basically, they were humiliated for 70 days. After that, he sent them back to Assyria. After this, Hizqiyah died. Ish'aya remained alive. And again, the people of Judah, they started fighting each other and they started drinking. Let me tell you how big things were bad back then, all right? Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended a punishment upon them. They used to kill each other. They used to steal it from each other. Homosexuality spread among them. They used to have rape publicly among them. And I don't even want to go further because they used to do a lot of disgusting things. A lot. Things that when you hear, you just, I can't even talk. Out of respect and out of manners, I can't even talk about. So they really corrupted in the land. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Ish'aya, go and tell your people that if you guys don't go back to the right path, things are going to get real for you. So just one click and everything is going to be destroyed. Remember that Al-Quds one day is going to be destroyed and your kingdom is going to be destroyed and you guys are going to have some bad time. So be careful. Go back to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ish'aya, he stood on a rock and he started telling all of the people of Israel who lived in Judea, he started telling them, go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Repent. Stop doing what you guys are doing. Stop drinking. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Stop doing fawahish. So the people said, no, you are nothing but a liar. And they started chasing him. They wanted to kill Ish'aya. So Ish'aya started running until he found a tree. The tree was blocking the way. So there is no way to go. It's a dead end. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he lit the tree in 2 halves. And he revealed to Ish'aya, he told him, Ish'aya, go inside the tree will close on you and it will protect you. So Ish'aya went inside, but then Iblis was there. And Iblis grabbed a thread from Ish'aya's clothes. And he held it out. So the tree closed and Ish'aya is inside, but there's a thread, a small piece of cloth sticking out from the tree. So when the people came who wanted to kill him, they were looking at him, but then they looked and they found there is a thread from the tree. So they knew he is inside and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting him. So they grabbed a chainsaw and they cut the tree in two halves, killing Ish'aya inside. So they killed him inside the tree. So Ish'aya is dead now. This made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extremely angry at the people of Israel. Extremely angry at them. They killed their own prophet. Hence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Isra, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them, وَآتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابِ. So I've given you a Torah, I've given you the book in which is gonna lead you to the right path. And I have taken a promise from you to not change me as the being you are worshipping. Do not worship anything besides me. And he told them, you are going to corrupt in the land twice. The first time you're going to corrupt, we're going to send people to you who are going to crush you, destroy you, and crush your city and put it into dirt. Fast forward, after Ish'aya and his death, there was a man by the name of Irmiyah bin Hilqiyah. Irmiyah bin Hilqiyah, he was a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, I will give the last warning to your people. The last warning, if they do not stop corruption, if they do not stop from committing human rights, crimes against human rights, among themselves and towards others, my punishment is going to come. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Irmiyah, and that was the message, إني أقسم بجلالي وعزتي لأهيجن عليهم جيولا لا يفقهون ألسنتهم ولا يعرفون وجوههم ولا يرحمون بكاءهم ولأبعثن فيهم ملكا جبارا قاسيا له عساكر كقطع السحاب ومواكب كأمثال الفجاج كأن خفقان راياته طيران النسور وكأن حمل فرسانه كر العقبان يعيدون العمران خرابا ويتركون القرى وحشة فيا ويل إيليا وسكانها كيف أذلهم للقتل وأسلط عليهم السباع وأعيد بعد لجب الأعراس صراخا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them, if they do not repent, I swear with my almightiness and my gloriousness that I will send people, they do not speak their language, they do not recognize their faces, people who do not have any single mercy to them crying. I will send to them a king who is the biggest tyrant of his time. He has an army with flags, a huge army with flags that when you see the flags coming, the flag sounds like they're eagles flying. And they will, it's a long paragraph, but basically at the end he says, they will change the wedding laughs into tearful screams. So this man speaks business. He's not playing around. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Irmiyah to tell them, وَبَعْدَ صَهِيلِ الْخَيْلِ عِوَاءَ الذِّئَابِ وَبَعْدَ شُرَافَاتِ الْقُصُورِ مَسَاكِنَ السِّبَاعِ وَبَعْدَ ضَوْءِ السُّرُجِ وَهْجَ الْعُجَاجِ وَبِالْعِزِّ ذُلَّةِ وَبِالنِّعْمَةِ الْعُبُودِيَّةِ وَأُبَدِّلَنَّ نِسَاءَهُمْ بَعْدَ الطِّيبِ التُّرَابِ وَبِالْمَشْيِ عَلَى الزَّرَابِ الْخُبَبِ وَلَأَجْعَلَنَّ أَجْسَادَهُمْ زُبَلًا لِلْأَرْضِ وَعِظَامَهُمْ ضاحية للشمس ولأدوسنهم بألوان العذاب ثم لآمرن السماء فتكون طبقا من حديد والأرض سبيكة من نحاس فإن أمطرت لم تنبت الأرض وإن أنبتت شيئا في خلال ذلك فبرحمتي للبهائم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them, I will change the city with all its glory, with all of the palaces. I will let it into dirt. I will let the animals inhabit it. I will crush them with a lot of punishments. And I will let the sky become a piece of metal, and the ground, the earth, I will let it become a piece of copper. So every time the sky rains, the earth does not plant. There is no plant coming out of it. And if there was a plant coming out of it, it's out of my mercy, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mercy. Because He wants to feed the animals. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Irmiyah to go and tell them that. Not just this. Then He tells him to tell them, ask them, do they feel happy when they do ma'siyah, when they sin? Ask them if there's anybody who felt ever happy sinning me. And if there's anybody who ever felt agony not sinning me and following my path. So Irmiyah, he went to his people. He stood on the rock. The same rock as Ish'ya, by the way. The same place. So history repeats itself. And he tells the people, he tells them the same message that he was given to by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the people, what do? How many lectures did we have about the Israelites so far? A lot of lectures, right? I don't think that I should ask you this question. They did not follow him, basically. All right, so unfortunately, bad habits don't change. They did not change. They did not follow him. They said, you're a liar, you're a big liar, and they start chasing him again. But fortunately, they did not kill him this time, but they put him in jail. All right? And they tortured him. Meanwhile, in Assyria, do you remember Nebuchadnezzar? He became the king. And by the way, Nebuchadnezzar, he was not part of the royal family. Nebuchadnezzar was a very poor man. One day, during the time of Sanharib, a priest comes to him and he tells him, he was walking, then a priest comes to him and then he bows to him, he kneels to him. So Nebuchadnezzar looks at him and he tells him, what's up? Why are you bowing to me? He was a poor man, his father was dead, and he had nothing. He was very poor. He was living in the slums. So he tells him, what's up? Why are you bowing to me? He tells him, I'm bowing to you, your majesty. You're the king of Assyria. Sorry, not Assyria, Babylon. Because Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, Sanharib was the king of Assyria. So he told him, you are the king of Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar looks at him, he tells him, first of all, what Babylon? It's the kingdom of Assyria. Number two, what are you talking about? Me a king? You're mistaken, my friend. If the soldiers hear you, they're going to kill you. So don't do that. The priest tells him, you're underestimating yourself. You're going to become the king of this land. And you are going to become something great. Upon your hand, the destruction of a strong nation. So Nebuchadnezzar, this incident was carved in his head. And he became a king. He was recruited, one day he was recruited into the army by accident. And he started going up the ranks until Sanharib died. And they were looking for a new king. There was nobody. So they chose Nebuchadnezzar. And he became the king. Right? يُؤْتِي مُلْكَهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So be careful next time if you're seeing somebody in the slums and make fun of him, be careful he does not become a king. It's going to be carved in his mind. I'll tell you an incident just out of humor. Mamoon, do we know Mamoon? He was one of the Abbasid caliphs. One time he was being taught by his teacher, so the teacher hit him. So Mamoon told him, "Why did you hit me?" So the teacher told him, "Shut up. It's not any business." So Mamoon asked him, "Why did you hit me? I did not do anything." So the teacher told him, "Shut up." And again he told him, "Why?" He told him, "Shut up. I'm going to hit you again if you keep asking." Fast forward a few years, Mamoon becomes the new king. The king of the Islamic Empire, the Khalifa. It was like around 40 years after. He remembers that teacher. He remembers this incident. And then he calls this teacher. He tells him, "Where is this teacher?" And then he calls him. And then the teacher stands in front of him, this time kneeling to him, Your Majesty. So he told him, "Hey, I did not forget. Why did you hit me 40 years ago?" And this time he can't tell him shut up. If he tells him shut up, Al-Ma'mun is gonna make sure the teacher is gonna shut up for the rest of his life. So the teacher told him, "I intentionally hit you because," he told him, "Wait, do you remember this incident?" And he tells him, "Yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. Why did you hit me? I did nothing." He told him, "I intentionally hit you because I want you to remember it. Because I did not hit you for any reason. I was being unjust with you. And I want you to remember that the person you do an unjust act with him, he's going to always remember it. He's never going to forget it, even if it was like 100 years. So he's teaching him a lecture about how to have justice, basically. So this is why I'm telling you, be careful with, you have to always be careful with how you treat people, right? In Islam, we have to have good manners and treat people with good manners. But out of humor, be careful when you make fun of a poor man. One day he might become the king, and he's gonna remember this, and he's gonna remember who you are, and he's gonna get you one day. All right. So Nebuchadnezzar became the king. The people of Israel, unfortunately, like us today, they were busy. They were busy fighting for money. They were busy fighting for power. Okay. And then Nebuchadnezzar, he gets a revelation from Allah. Not a revelation like Jibreel came to him, but ilham, inspiration basically, ilham. He felt in his heart suddenly that he wanted to conquer Palestine. They were not doing anything for him, but he felt like he wanted to conquer Palestine. Let me be fair about they did not do anything for him. They were given freedom to have their own country. And Nebuchadnezzar did a contract with them that, you have your own country, we're not going to hurt you, etc. But they kept stealing, they kept killing from his own country. So they were provoking it, basically. So he gathers a strong army. He goes all the way to Judah. And they were scared. On the way, also a funny thing in the way. On the way, he went to Damascus, and the people did not resist. They literally just gave him the city. And if you read history, when the Mongols attacked, they destroyed every single country, every single city, even Baghdad, even Halab, everything. But then when they came to Damascus, the people of Damascus, they stopped and they said, "Okay, the city is yours." So I don't know if this is like something that people of Damascus, I'm from Damascus myself, so I don't know if this is something we do. It's like, okay, just don't destroy our city. Like, I don't know if it's like a tactic or a strategy, basically. They do, so there's no blood, basically. But this is what they did with Nebuchadnezzar, and then he went to Al-Quds. So they had nothing to resist with, the Jews, right? They had nothing to resist with, right? If they resist, they would be crushed. So they literally stormed the place. The army of Nebuchadnezzar stormed the place. any single building, literally the order of Nebuchadnezzar was as follows. Any building that stands, I want it to be dirt on the floor. But do not cut a tree, do not kill a woman, do not kill an infant child, and do not kill an elderly. That sounds similar, right? So they crushed every single building built by them. They crushed all the palaces. So the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is haqq. Every palace was crushed. They killed all of the men of the Israelites. Few of them fled to Egypt. Nebuchadnezzar wrote to the king of Egypt. He told him, the people who fled to you, bring them to me. So the king of Egypt said no. So he conquered Egypt. He killed the king and he killed the people who fled there from the Jews. He even went all the way to Morocco, chased the Jews. He did not leave them. He chased them all the way to Morocco, killing them. And if you go to the Zionists today, this is a big deal. This is a big deal to them. What happened to them by Nebuchadnezzar, they remember it. Why today we see Iraq destroyed? Why is it in destruction? They remember it. The Zionists remember that. You think they're not behind what's going on? In 2003, they found Zionist soldiers in Iraq fighting and killing Iraqis. They remember. A lot of the acts they're doing today is out of revenge. Out of revenge. Today, when they are killing the Palestinians, they think of it as David and Goliath. They literally think that the Palestinians are Jalut. This is what they think. And they think themselves they're Dawood. So they're fighting Jalut. They're sick. Let me tell you, they're sick. They live in delusions. The Zionists today, they live in delusions. It's not like David and Goliath anymore. It's not like Nebuchadnezzar is here anymore. And fun fact, the ruler of Iraq back then, Saddam Hussein, if we all know Saddam Hussein, right? Yeah. So Saddam Hussein used to tease them, the Zionists. He used to draw Nebuchadnezzar. He used to draw Nebuchadnezzar's pictures everywhere in Iraq. And when he would draw it, he would put Jerusalem next to it, Al-Quds, as to tease them, to be like, hey, do you remember what happened to you guys? So this has also triggered them, I guess. But anyways, Nebuchadnezzar, he came into the country, the Palestine. دخل نبوخذ بجنوده إلى بيت المقدس وطئ الشام وقتل بني إسرائيل حتى أفناهم. And as I said, then he took all of their money. He took everything they owned. It was left completely empty. Like yesterday, there were no palaces, there was no wealth. And then he took into prison 90,000 people. 90,000 people, he took them back to him to Iraq. One thing he also did, he killed all the pigs. And he destroyed Bayt al-Maqdis. So the reason why we see it as ruins, because he destroyed it. He destroyed Al-Masjid al-Aqsa. He also destroyed mosques and he destroyed churches. He just... We have the term, today we say, سأمحوك من وجه الخاطرة, من وجه الخارطة. سأمحوك من وجه الخارطة. I will erase you from the map. He literally did this to them. He erased them from the map. It was a complete disaster. But then, the people of his army told Nebuchadnezzar that there is a man, he was mentioning you, and that you're going to come and destroy this land. He goes by the name Ermia. So he told them, okay, bring me that man. Where is he? They told him he is in jail. Do you remember Ermia? He's the prophet who they put in jail. Remember him? So Ermia came to him, and Nebuchadnezzar said, so what's your business? So Ermia told him the business. So Nebuchadnezzar tells him, بئس القوم الذين كذبوا رسولهم وسجنوه. Though he said بئس القوم, so like curses belong to those people who said that their prophet is a liar, and they imprisoned their prophet. And he told Irmiyah, you are free to come with me and live like a king, or you're free to stay here and I will make sure you live a happy life. So Irmiyah said, thank you, but I'm not going to do what they did. I'm safe as long as I'm in the wall of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning he is following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting him. I'm safe as long as I'm in the wall of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what my people did not do. They left Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so this is what happened to them. So Nebuchadnezzar left him. Let me tell you something about Irmiyah. Irmiyah had a follower. He goes by the name Zarajt. Is that name familiar? Zarajt? Okay. What about Zdrasht? Is it familiar? Do we know the religion Zoroastrianism? Do we know that religion? Al-Majusiyah. Okay. The man of Al-Majusiyah, he was a follower of Irmiyah. But he was a bad follower. He would commit sins. He would harm Irmiyah. So Irmiyah made dua against him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separated him from Irmiyah, and he was taken away all the way to Azerbaijan. But the southern part, not the northern part. So the southern part is in today Iran. So he went to where the Persians were. And he was greeted by a man. This man, he is mysterious. But most scholars agreed that this man is actually Iblis. He came to him in the form of a man. And he taught him the religion of Al-Majusiyah. The religion of the Majusiyah, they do not worship the fire directly, but they use it as a way of getting close to the Lord. The Lord is a dark figure made of darkness and fire. So I wonder who is that Lord. Basically, they're worshipping Iblis. And they're using fire because Iblis is made out of fire. So Iblis taught him the Al-Majusiyah, and this man started spreading it all around Persia. So now you know from where this religion came. Now, one of the people Nebuchadnezzar also took was Daniel, who was a prophet as well. All right? Okay. Daniel has a very special story. There's something called Ru'ya Daniel, the vision of Daniel. But before we go into that, I promised you that I'm gonna tell you how the Torah was corrupted, correct? Okay. So Irmiyah died. When Nebuchadnezzar came into Palestine, he burnt all of the Torah. So there was no Torah left except for the father of Uzair. Uzair was a prophet. Some say he's Rajul Salih, but most of the scholars say he's a prophet. Uzair is the man who slept and he died for 100 years. We're going to talk about his story. So the father of Uzair, he buried the right Torah in a place, in a secret place. So there was no Torah left. So, knowing that the people of Israel were not followers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? This is why punishment came upon them. They were taken into Iraq. So now you have people from Samaria, Samira, and people from Yehuda. All of the Israelites went to Iraq. They wanted to, quote unquote, preserve the religion. So instead of preserving the religion, they destroyed it. They wrote from their mind. 500 years. 500 years until Isa alayhi salam. During this, not 500 years, we said 300 to 400 years, until Isa alayhi salam. We had different people write different things. Right? We have the book of Genesis, we have the book of Daniel, we have the book of this, the book of that. These were written by separate people. Now, there are some things that are correct because Al-Uzair, he told them about the right Torah. Not all of them who went to Iraq were bad, just letting you know. Because Al-Uzair, he was taken as a young child into Iraq and he was a good man. And he was the only man who knew the whole Torah. Alright? So some of the right things were put into the scripts. So basically what they did, they wrote the books. Does that make sense? They wrote the books themselves, out of their minds. They incorporated things out of their imagination. They changed and switched some things around, like for instance saying that Yaqub, he is the one who was slaughtered, not Ismail, or about to be slaughtered. They changed, like for instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَقُولُوا حِطَّةً. So they want it to look like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's not mad at them, so they changed it into وَقُولُوا حِنْطَةً. Because this is what they did when they entered the city. Remember when we talked about that in the previous lecture? Yeah. So they changed a lot. But the most notable things, they incorporated a lot of the Babylonian mythology and gods into a Torah. And also Iblis came to them and he started telling them what to do. He came to them as a priest and he started telling them what to write and what not to write. They made a book by the name of Tanakh, a book by the name of Talmud. And they had a special practice known as Al-Qabala, Al-Kabbalah, the Kabbalah. This practice is present till this day. This practice, they use black magic, basically, essentially. Nobody knows today, nobody knows what's exactly inside of it, if you're an outsider, unless you actually go deep into it. If you're actually a trusted Jew and you are trusted by the people who practice Kabbalah, they will let you know, they will teach you. Basically, they incorporated the black magic that was taught by Iblis to Namrud into the Torah. So today's Torah is not advocating for worshipping Allah. Yahweh, who is the name of Allah in their book, in Torah, Yahweh, the deity they're worshipping, is in fact Iblis. If you see the description, it's in fact Iblis. They're worshipping Iblis. Read their books and you're going to find everything is talking about demons and stuff like that in reality from our perspective. Hence, when they say the Messiah, who's going to come and rule for 1,000 years in peace, and he is going to unite the Israelites and all of this big talk they do. In fact, they're waiting for the Messiah who is Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Because Iblis prepared the black magic he taught to Namrud with all of the figures in the Babylon. This is why I kept telling you each mythology. Remember, I kept telling you each mythology, the Egyptian mythology, the Greek mythology. Because we always had a figure who is actually Iblis and a figure who's actually Al-Masih al-Dajjal. They worship a deity by the name of Baphomet. His head is a head of a goat, and his hand and chest is a hand and chest of a human, and his legs is a leg of a calf. Do you see how everything's connected? They do that today. They also worship a statue of an owl. And this statue of an owl, because they believe this is the ex-wife of Adam, who became the wife of Iblis. The Jews believe that. Till this day. Their practices are black magic. Didn't you ever wonder why we don't really know how the rituals are in Judaism? Why is it not open for everyone? Before that, I went to the Zionist website that talks about Judaism. And they were saying that the Zionists themselves, they were saying you cannot become a Jew if you're not born a Jew. Why? Why you can never convert to Judaism? Because they don't want you in, because the practices are of that of black magic and worshipping Iblis. There are secrets they don't want you to know. Basically. So, this is how they corrupted the Torah. So the Torah we have today is filled with magic, black magic, and worshipping Iblis. Remember the motto of the series? It was the verse, أَلَمْ أَعْهَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانِ. Do not worship the devil. In Surah Yasin. Because The Jews today worship Iblis in reality. Al-Majus already worship Iblis. And we're going to see in the next lecture how Christians also worship Iblis. There is a reason I told you about the Egyptian mythology, because you're going to see how similar it is to the Christian belief. Anyways, we're running out of time, so we have 5 minutes. So in this 5 minutes, we have to do something really fast. Okay, Daniel. Okay, so maybe we can talk about the story of Uzair next time. Okay, but Daniel, real quick, because Daniel does not have a large story. So Daniel, he was taken to Babel, right? And Nebuchadnezzar, because he was torturing the whole Israelites, he also tortured Daniel. So Daniel is a prophet, and he put Daniel into a prison, and he put 2 lions. And he told letting the lions to kill Daniel. And he locked it. So the 2 lions came and approached Daniel, and Daniel, imagine you're put in a cage with 2 lions. What's going to happen to you? So the 2 lions came over, and they licked Daniel instead of eating him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to not hurt Daniel. So Daniel made a ring, and he carved in the ring 2 lions and himself as a form of appreciation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessing. One time Nebuchadnezzar was sleeping, and he had a dream of a statue. The head of the statue was made of gold. The chest and the 2 arms were made of silver. The stomach or the abdomen and the thighs were made of bronze, and the legs were made of metal. And then he saw a rock. This rock came and crushed the statue until the statue was like it did not exist. And then from the rock started a tree growing, a mountain growing and spreading everywhere. So Daniel used to know how to tell the dreams, like Sayyidina Yusuf, right? So they called Daniel. So he told him, the gold head is your kingdom. The chest and the other 4 colors, they're another kingdom. So the Muslim scholars said that the head, indeed, it's the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar. The chest is the kingdom of the Persians, the Akhmedians. And then the leg and the thighs and the abdomen are the kingdom of the Greek. And the legs, the metal leg, is the kingdom of the Roman Empire. Then the rock is the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it will crush all of these kingdoms. And the mountain that is growing is the Muslims, the Ummah Muhammad, the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, and this is why I wanted to end with Daniel. In fact, Daniel, and it's a hadith by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he would not be buried by any other being other than Ummah Muhammad. During Futuhat al-Islamiyya, during Umar ibn al-Khattab, the reign of Umar ibn al-Khattab, they conquered Iran. They entered a cell lock. On the cell lock, they found a corpse. Behind the corpse, there's a book. So they went back to Umar ibn al-Khattab. They told him about it. So Umar said, give me the book and the money and all of the other thing. We're going to distribute it between the Muslims. So they told him, so Umar said, so what's up with this? Why is this corpse there and what's up? So they told him, well, the people of Iran said that this man, his name is Daniel, and that he is blessed, and every time the sky does not rain, we take his corpse, we raise it to the sky, and it rains. So Umar said, okay, do you know who's this man? And they said, no. He said, that's the Prophet Daniel, who was during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. So he said, what have you done to him? So they said, we buried 13 graves, and we buried him in one of those graves, and locked all of the 13 so nobody comes and, play around with the corpse or do something. So Umar said, That's the thing that Prophet ﷺ told us, that Daniel, he prayed to Allah that the nation of Muhammad buries him. And indeed it became true. And the nation of Muhammad buried Daniel. We're talking 500-600 years after that. And not just this, he also said that the Prophet ﷺ also said a hadith that Bashir, بما معنى الحديث بشر من يجد دانيال بالجنة. And the man who found him, his name is Harqus. So Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he wrote to him, he said, you are gonna go to heavens because you're the one who told us about where is Daniel. This is according to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so this was the story of Daniel, and this was how the Israelites were shattered. Now, let's conclude with this. Who owns Palestine? Is it the Zionists today? How many times do I have to tell you? The Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews who make most of the Jews today, they're not even the Israelites. What happened to the people who were taken in prison to Iraq? They spread to Persia. They lived in Persia. During the medieval times, there was a kingdom known as the Kingdom of Al-Khazar. The Kingdom of Al-Khazar, they had preachers who came from Iran, Israelites, and preached Judaism, like preaching Christianity, by the way, into the Kingdom of Al-Khazar because they were near Iran. So, the king of Al-Khazar, he wanted to have a new religion because we had the Muslim empire and there was the Byzantines, they were Christians. So he wanted to become a strong empire, so he wanted to have his own religion. So he heard about the preachers who came from Iran, who were Israelites, and preaching about Judaism. So he told them, what's up with this? So they told him about Judaism, so he converted to Judaism. He forced his whole nation to convert to Judaism. He conquered the Slavs and the Germanics, forcing them to convert to Judaism. Hence, becoming the Ashkenazi Jews, who have no connection to Yaqub or Ibrahim. So today, when they start whining about, oh, we are the chosen people. Oh, Ibrahim, our ancestor, he was promised by Allah this land, and this is the land of our ancestors. We tell them, no, get the heck out of our country. This is not your land. Because Ibrahim is not your ancestor. He is the ancestor of us, Arabs, and the ancestor of Mizrahi Jews, who, by the way, the Mizrahi Jews today, the descendants of Israel, Yaqub and Ibrahim, they are oppressed. If we go to the Zionist occupied Palestine, if you go there, and where the Zionists are ruling, they are oppressed. They live in slums. Right? They're tortured. So this is not their land. They have no connection to this land. This is colonialism, what's happening in Palestine. This is colonialism. Right? So, this is how we conclude it, inshallah. I was about to tell you, we don't have time, do we? No, at all. I was going to tell you guys a verse from Torah, from the Song of Songs that talks about Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. Do we have a minute? Just a minute? Okay. So did we see how the Muslims were mentioned and how Daniel said Ummat Muhammad and all of this, and how I'm saying today that it does not belong to them. In fact, it belongs to the Muslims. And by the way, yes, I know Ibrahim is the ancestor of the Arabs and stuff like that, but Ibrahim is also the ancestor of all Muslims. So if you're not Arab, you're still a descendant of Ibrahim alayhi salam, because, as I always say, it's not the biological connection, but it's the spiritual, and it is the creed connection. So there's a verse, I'm going to conclude with that says in Hebrew, هاكوكو ممتكيم في خولو محمديم زهداويدي فاي زراي بنوت يروشلام. The translation in Arabic, فتى كالأرز حلقه حلاوة محمد هذا حبيبي هذا خليلي يا بنات أورشليم. So there's a verse in the Torah that says, there is a boy He is like the tree of Sidar. His name is Muhammad. This is my love. This is my companion, O daughter of Urshalim. Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the Torah. We don't have time to talk about the other verses, but what am I concluding? This is one of millions of verses who talk about how the descendants of Ismail are going to be a great nation, how the southern winds from the Arabian Peninsula spreading all around the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spreading justice. And how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Torah, in their Torah today, the land of Palestine belongs to the nation, the great nation that is going to come from Ismail. And Ismail is the father, biological father of the Arabs, and the creed and spiritual father of all Muslims. So to whom Palestine belongs? I want to hear it. To whom Palestine belongs? Us Muslims. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the verse, ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَا لَكُمُ الْكَرَّةَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَأَمْدَدْنَاكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَكْثَرَ نَفِيرًا إِنْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَإِنْ أَسَأْتُمْ فَلَهَا فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَةِ لِيَسُوءُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَلِيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدَ كَمَا دَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَلِيُتَبِّرُوا مَا عَلَوْا تَتْبِيرًا. Inshallah, this is going to be soon. Bidnillah ta'ala, we're going to see Palestine liberated. Inshallah, we're going to do futur in Ramadan and we're going to fast in Palestine. We're going to do Salatul Jumu'ah in Palestine in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, inshallah. And we're going to do our Eid, inshallah. May Allah make it next year, inshallah, that we have our next Eid in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي بالحق وإنه لا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. اللهم اجعلنا نصلي في المسجد الأقصى. اللهم أكرمنا بالصلاة في المسجد الأقصى فاتحين محررين منتصرين. اللهم عليك بأعدائك أعداء الدين وبمن عاونهم من الظالمين. اللهم أكرمنا بالصلاة في المسجد النبوي والمسجد الحرام يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أطعمنا الحج يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أطعمنا الحج يا أرحم الراحمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا في فلسطين يا أرحم الراحمين وفي كل مكان، وفي بورما وفي كشمير وفي الصين وفي العراق وسوريا ومصر وكل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك بكم.